When was the last time you pulled out of a drive-thru, parked up under a buzzing amber sign, and felt a genuine wave of regret before you've even finished your first chip? You sit there in a messy car park, staring at a lukewarm burger that looks nothing like the picture, nursing a paper straw that's already turning to mush in your milkshake, and you think to yourself, why do I keep paying more money for a worse experience? We've all been conditioned to accept this as the baseline of modern fast food. We treat the missing sauces, the stone-cold deliveries from Uber Eats or Deliveroo, and the steadily climbing prices like some sort of unavoidable tax on convenience. But it isn't just a bit of bad luck, and it certainly isn't normal. In this video, you'll find out exactly how the UK's biggest fast food giant has been quietly rigging the game against your wallet and your health. I'll show you the hidden algorithmic traps built into your phone that are designed to penalize you for ordering at the counter. And we'll break down the devastating reality of what ultra-processed laboratory science is doing to your body over decades. You're going to discover how corporate cost-cutting has devalued your loyalty, wrecked the basic mechanics of customer service, and why the most stomach-turning revelation of all, involving a complete failure of basic hygiene that stayed hidden right through the Christmas rush, comes near the very end. By the time we're finished, you'll see the high street menu through a completely different lens, giving you the kind of insider knowledge that 90% of shoppers lack. Before we name the specific culprits and look at the hard data, we need to understand the structural illusion keeping this entire machine running. Think of modern fast food less like a traditional kitchen and more like a highly optimized chemical refinery that happens to sell meat. In a normal restaurant, or even when you're cooking a basic meal from Tesco or Sainsbury's, quality is determined by ingredients and human skill. If you buy a bad piece of beef, your dinner is ruined. The industrial fast food complex completely bypasses this vulnerability by relying on ultra-processed engineering. They design food to be functionally immortal and hyper-palatability engineered, using a precise matrix of fats, sugars, and sodium designed to hijack your brain's reward centers before your stomach even realizes it's been cheated. It's the exact same logic car manufacturers use when they build a vehicle out of cheap, brittle plastics but coat the dashboard in a soft touch veneer to make it feel premium. You think you're buying a quick, affordable meal, but you're actually purchasing a meticulously budgeted corporate asset designed to extract maximum cash for minimum material cost. Over the last few years, this engineering has shifted from the food science lab straight into the digital space. The industry discovered that they don't even need to make the food taste better to keep you hooked. They just need to control the digital pipeline through which you buy it. When a corporation reaches this size, it stops being a hospitality business and becomes an exercise in logistics and psychological engineering. They use legal loopholes and complex franchise agreements to insulate themselves from local failures, ensuring that while the profits flow directly up to head office, the blame for a broken machine or a filthy dining area stays pushed down onto low-wage teenagers and stressed local managers. It's a beautifully cynical system where the consumer absorbs the inflation, the staff absorb the stress, and the corporate entity simply buys more billboard space to convince you that you're still loving it. The trap is laid the second you open an app or drive onto the tarmac, and it's time to look at exactly how it snaps shut. Let's pull back the curtain on exactly how the UK's most trusted golden arches are crumbling, starting with the digital trap designed to pick your pocket. From the 14th of July this year, McDonald's UK has executed a cynical maneuver with its popular wrap of the day. For years, you could walk off a British high street, approach the counter, and order a quick lunch for a reasonable £2.49. Not anymore. A McDonald's spokesperson confirmed that this deal has been forcefully dragged off the physical menu boards and locked entirely inside their smartphone app. If you stand in the branch and use the self-service kiosk or talk to a real human at the till, you are slapped with a penalty price between £4.49 and £5.79 for the exact same tortilla, the exact same chicken, made by the exact same worker. It is a blatant digital tax on anyone who values their privacy and doesn't want their location, spending habits, and data tracked by a massive corporate entity across all 1,450 UK restaurants. It's an absolute ripoff that penalizes the elderly, the digitally fatigued, or anyone who simply wants a quick bite without handing over their digital footprint. If you already feel like checking your own smartphone to see how much data these corporations are milking from you, hit that subscribe button right now, because the corporate squeeze gets significantly nastier from here. Let's talk about the complete gutting of the Food for Thought scheme on the 22nd of May this year. This was the quiet savior for cash-strapped British parents navigating an absolute cost-of-living crisis. You used to be able to complete a quick feedback survey and secure a reliable kids' meal or a solid main option for a flat £2.99. It was an affordable habit built into the weekly routine of millions of tired parents after the Tuesday school run. What did corporate head office do? They quietly gutted it. Now, according to McDonald's own published terms, you only get a free item once you have already forced yourself to spend £5 or more on the rest of the order. What used to be a standalone affordable lifeline is now a cynical psychological carrot dangled to make you spend more money than you ever intended. Real consumer reviews across Mumsnet and Trustpilot show an outpouring of genuine betrayal, with parents stating this quiet, unannounced change was the exact moment they stopped bringing their families through the doors completely. But let's say you bypass the app traps and order a delivery to your sofa via Deliveroo or Just Eat, hoping for a relaxing treat. Real consumers are reporting a complete logistical breakdown. Open any local review page, and it's a horror show of soaking wet brown paper bags, missing fries that were supposedly verified by a manager, and food that arrives stone cold because nobody in the kitchen is timing the dispatch properly. And then we have the infamous paper straw debacle. Back in 2018, the chain replaced plastic straws across all its UK and Ireland branches to curb plastic pollution. Sounds noble, right? Except the replacement paper straws were an absolute engineering disaster, famously dissolving into mush within 3 sips of a thick strawberry milkshake. Over 42,000 furious Brits signed a petition demanding a return to functional cutlery, with some desperate consumers literally buying vintage plastic straws on eBay just to enjoy a drink. The ultimate kicker came when investigative reports from the BBC and Al Jazeera exposed that these annoying paper straws weren't even being recycled by UK council facilities because of their thickness. They were being chucked straight into the furnaces as general waste. You were given a compromised, dissolving piece of rubbish under the guise of saving the planet, while the planet didn't get a single ounce of the benefit. Now, let's step up the ladder of corporate failures and look at what happened in Halifax. On the 1st of December, environmental health officers from Calderdale Council walked into the McDonald's branch on Old Market in Halifax and slapped it with a hygiene rating of 0. On the Food Standards Agency scale, 0 means an absolute systemic failure of basic cleanliness. The official inspection report noted there was completely no hot water at the hand-washing sinks. In a high-volume kitchen handling raw meat, poultry, and dairy for hundreds of local families daily, hot water isn't a premium luxury. It's the bare legal minimum required to stop the spread of dangerous bacteria. The company blamed a faulty boiler, but the real scandal is the corporate timeline. This 0-star rating remained active through the entire peak Christmas rush and into the new year, with the branch trading through its busiest season on the worst hygiene score possible, before finally being upgraded months later in mid-March. It shows exactly what happens when franchise margins are squeezed so hard that basic maintenance falls off the radar. Let's look at where their money actually goes. In late 2025, the Food Foundation published a damning report naming McDonald's the worst offender in the entire UK for outdoor junk food advertising, revealing they splashed a staggering £86 million on physical billboards and bus shelter posters in a single year, a massive 71% surge. Why the sudden obsession with billboards? Because on the 5th of January, strict new UK laws banned less healthy food adverts on television before 9 in the evening and outlawed them entirely on digital spaces. Instead of fixing their recipes to make them healthier, the corporation simply diverted millions into the remaining physical loopholes to catch your eyes on the street. Interestingly, the corporate savior brought in to fix this strategy, marketing boss Ben Fox, explicitly told the trade press that throwing massive budgets at traditional advertising wasn't working anymore. He lasted barely 12 months before walking out the door with no immediate replacement. When the person hired to run your multi-million-pound marketing campaign vanishes within a year, it tells you everything you need to know about the internal chaos behind those smiling billboards. Meanwhile, the financial crown has been completely knocked off their head. In July 2022, the brand broke a 14-year tradition by permanently killing off the iconic 99p cheeseburger, triggering a relentless spiral of menu price hikes. While they try to push massive new items like the Big Arch Burger as premium dining experiences, British consumers have realized that fast food is no longer cheap. In fact, independent market data confirmed that the high street bakery chain Greggs officially overtook them as the UK's #1 breakfast destination. capturing nearly 20% of the entire morning market. While the golden arches creak under the weight of customer complaints, Greg's pre-tax profits rocketed past £170 million, offering a breakfast meal deal that actually leaves you change from a £3 coin. At the same time, recent YouGov polling revealed British consumers now rank McDonald's burgers a dismal third place, falling far behind rivals like Burger King and the rapidly expanding Five Guys, who recently secured £185 million in fresh financing specifically to aggressively claim more British high street real estate. Let's look at the actual nutritional reality behind those prices. Since UK law mandated calorie labeling on menus for major businesses, the reality has been stark. If you order that heavily advertised Big Arch burger, you are looking at 1,500 calories for the burger alone, before you even touch a medium fry or a sugary drink. The British Medical Journal published a massive umbrella review covering nearly 10 million people, confirming that heavy consumption of ultra-processed industrial food matrices is systematically tied to a 55% higher risk of obesity and a 40% higher risk of type 2 diabetes. Yet, ultra-processed foods still make up nearly 60% of the average British diet. Then there are the legendary ice cream machines that refuse to work in the dead of July. Data from tracking platforms like Msproken show that on any given summer day, up to 15% of UK ice cream machines are completely out of service. This isn't just bad luck, it's the result of a decades-old exclusive supply contract with the Taylor Company, which historically restricted local franchise owners from repairing basic digital faults without waiting days for an expensive, authorized technician. When independent innovators created a diagnostic tool to let managers fix their own machines, corporate head office threatened franchisees with legal action, protecting the monopoly while you get denied a McFlurry on the hottest day of the year. Add to this the fact that they devalued their app loyalty points twice in a single year, raising the entry barrier to 2,000 points while quietly making your hard-earned points expire in 6 months instead of 12. And the pattern is complete. They even use your car to game their internal corporate metrics. Workers openly admit that driving you into those numbered parking bays is frequently done just to clear the drive-through time sensor and make their branch speed statistics look perfect on a spreadsheet at head office, while you sit outside staring at a car park littered with old packaging and unemptied bins. It is a brilliant masterclass in corporate illusion, where the consumer pays double for half the speed and a mountain of missing sauces. And now, what it was worth watching all the way through for. We have waded through the corporate muck, the app traps, the zero hygiene ratings, and the pink slime matrices, which means you have earned the reward. It is time to look at the brands that are actually doing it right, treating your stomach like a human organ rather than a high-margin corporate bin. Every single alternative we are about to discuss is sitting on a shelf right now in a British shop you pass every single week. No gatekeeping, no foreign imports you can't actually buy, just real, accessible food that completely blows the fast food establishment out of the water. We start at the foundation of absolute value with the undisputed king of the high street budget swap, Aldi's specially selected Wagyu Smash Burgers. For just £3.99 for a pack of 2 substantial patties, this is the option that completely humiliates the pricing structure of a high street drive-thru. While the big chains are busy forcing you onto an app to overpay for a dry, uniform disc of gray protein, Aldi is using legitimate British-reared Wagyu crossbreed beef. The philosophy here is pure simplicity, high fat-to-lean ratios that naturally copy the famous restaurant smash burger technique. When you toss these into a ripping hot pan at home, you physically watch the edges caramelize into deep, crispy, lacy ribbons of intense umami, while the inside remains ridiculously juicy. The sensory experience is night and day. Instead of that damp cardboard texture of a drive-thru burger, you get an explosive, rich hit of real beef fat melting on your tongue. The BBC Good Food Summer Taste Awards officially crowned this the best supermarket burger, noting specifically how well it recreates authentic restaurant quality right in your own kitchen. The cost per portion is under £2, leaving you plenty of change to buy a pack of proper brioche buns from the bakery aisle. The only real downside? Because they are real smash burgers, they are thin by design, meaning if you want a massive double-stacked beast, you'll need to buy 2 packs. But even then, you are paying half of what a corporate premium burger costs. BBC Good Food. If you want a traditional, thick, beautifully rounded pub-style burger without breaking a £5 note, you move straight over to the absolute gold standard of the major supermarkets, the Tesco finest chuck, brisket, and bone marrow burgers. costing £5.50 for a twin pack. This is where serious food science meets traditional butchery. Instead of sweeping up the leftovers of the carcass and compressing them with chemical binding agents, Tesco uses a specific, deliberate blend of chuck and brisket to achieve a perfect 80-20 lean-to-fat balance. But the absolute masterstroke here is the inclusion of real bone marrow. Bone marrow is effectively nature's ultimate flavor enhancer. It melts down completely during cooking, self-basting the meat from the inside out and injecting an unbelievable deep, savory richness into every single fiber of the patty. When you press your fork into it, it doesn't bounce back like a spongy industrial fast food disc. It gently flakes apart, releasing a pool of clear, rich juices. Independent culinary panels have highly commended this specific blend for its uniform browning and robust, unapologetic beefiness. It is the perfect all-rounder for anyone who wants a substantial, thick burger that can hold up to a massive slice of cheddar and a thick wedge of beef tomato without turning into a soggy mess. BBC Good Food Now. Let's say you have a bit more cash in your wallet and you want the absolute pinnacle of luxury. The kind of burger that makes you realize you have been settling for complete garbage your entire adult life. For this, you head to Ocado or a high-end butcher counter and pick up the Hawksmoor steak and bone marrow burgers. Priced at £8 for a pack of 2, let's be entirely honest from the start. It is expensive. This is not a casual Tuesday night post-school run meal, but what you are paying for here is an absolute masterclass in British culinary heritage. Hawksmoor is widely regarded by food critics as one of the finest steakhouse chains in the entire world, and their retail patties are made with the exact same obsessive standard as the steaks they serve in their London and Manchester restaurants. They use exclusively grass-fed British beef that has been dry-aged for up to 28 days in specialized salt chambers to concentrate the natural sugars and proteins in the meat. They fold in a precise ratio of rich bone marrow to ensure the patty never dries out, regardless of how you cook it. The texture is completely unparalleled. It is loosely minced, meaning it has an incredibly light, melt-in-the-mouth structure that feels velvety on the palate, carrying a deep, funky, complex depth of flavor that tastes like a proper luxury steakhouse meal. It is a physical revelation that proves when you stop paying for a multi-million-pound corporate marketing budget, every single penny goes directly into the quality of the agricultural product on your plate. If you want to permanently break free from this industrial food trap, you need to stop being a passive target for corporate algorithms and start shopping like an investigator. Here are the 6 concrete, unbreakable rules you need to follow the next time you walk into a British supermarket like Tesco, Asda, or Sainsbury's. First, turn the pack over and check the ingredient list for what I call the chemical baseline. If you see hydrolyzed proteins, emulsifiers, or moisture-retaining phosphates, put it straight back on shelf because you are paying premium money for water weight and cheap industrial glue. Second, check the origin stamp on the back of your beef or chicken packages. You want to see a clear British farmed or red tractor certification, which is a massive green light ensuring the meat was raised under strict local agricultural standards rather than imported as cheap freeze-dried blocks from unregulated mega facilities overseas. Third, look closely at the physical cut configuration of your supermarket burgers. Choose options explicitly labeled as a coarse mince blend, because a loose, coarse grind means the beef retains its natural muscle structure and juicy texture, whereas a smooth, paste-like consistency is a structural red flag indicating the meat has been mechanically reclaimed and hypercompressed into a dense, rubbery disc. Fourth, run a strict price per kilogram validation across the shelf edge labels instead of looking at the big, colorful discount stickers. If a pack of pre-made convenience burgers scales out at over £12 per kilo, you are being scammed by marketing. Buy a high-quality block of fresh minced beef from the butcher counter instead and press it yourself for half the cost. Fifth, never buy any product that proudly boasts smoke flavoring or added sugars deep within its savory meat ingredient list, as these are the exact corporate tricks used to mimic the natural caramelization of a proper grill and mask the bland flavor of low-grade, hyper-processed cattle. Sixth, make the ultimate high street switch and swap your regular drive-thru run for a quick trip to Aldi or Lidl's premium tier aisles, where you can pick up fresh, butcher-quality Wagyu or Angus cuts that cook in less than 10 minutes and cost a fraction of the price of an app-restricted corporate value meal. When you look at the totality of the evidence, the entire modern fast food industry is built on a single, cynical premise. They bet that you are too tired, too busy, and too hooked on the illusion of convenience to notice that the quality is plummeting while the prices are soaring. They spend £86 million on billboards across our towns specifically to bypass internet regulations and trigger your visual cravings before you can think rationally. But the second you realize that you can buy real, British-reared bone marrow patties or lacy Wagyu smash burgers from a local supermarket shelf for half the cost of a lukewarm drive-thru box, the corporate spell is permanently broken. You stop being a digital asset to be tracked and squeezed by an app, and you take absolute control over what actually goes onto your plate and into your family's bodies. Thank you so much for sticking with me through this deep dive. Your time is incredibly valuable, and I appreciate you spending it here with me today. If you want to protect your friends and family from being taken for a ride by these corporate app traps and digital pricing penalties, share this video with them right now. We all have that one mate who practically lives in the drive-thru lane and wonders why their wallet is always empty. I want to hear from you directly down in the comments. Look in your kitchen right now and tell me honestly, which of these supermarket brands or fast food chains is sitting in your fridge or freezer at this exact moment? If you want to see exactly how the major UK supermarkets are pulling off a similar psychological trick with their processed ready meal aisles, click on the linked video on your screen right now. Until next time, keep your wits about you, read the labels, and protect your plate.